Christopher Wylie, who helped found the data firm Cambridge Analytica and worked there until 2014, has described the company as an arsenal of weapons in a culture war. Andrew Tester for the New York Times London, as the upstart voter profiling company Cambridge Analytica prepared to wade into the 2014 American midterm elections, it had a problem. The firm had secured a $15 million investment from Robert Mercer, the wealthy Republican donor, and wooed his political advisor, Stephen K. Bannon, with the promise of tools that could identify the personalities of American voters and influence their behavior. But it did not have the data to make its new products work. So the firm harvested private information from the Facebook profiles of more than 50 million users without their permission, according to former Cambridge employees, associates and documents, making it one of the largest data leaks in the social network's history. The breach allowed the company to exploit the private social media activity of a huge swath of the American electorate, developing techniques that underpinned its work on President Trump's campaign in 2016, an examination by the New York Times and The Observer of London reveals how Cambridge Analytica's drive to bring to market a potentially powerful new weapon put the firm, and wealthy conservative investors seeking to reshape politics, under scrutiny from investigators and lawmakers on both sides of the Atlantic. Both Congress and the British Parliament have questioned Alexander Nix, chief executive of Cambridge Analytica, about the firm's activities. Brian Better, Getty Images. Christopher Wylie, who helped found Cambridge and worked there until late 2014, said of its leaders, "Rules don't matter for them. For them, this is a war, and it's all fair. They want to fight a culture war in America," he added. Cambridge Analytica was supposed to be the arsenal of weapons to fight that culture war. Details of Cambridge's acquisition and use of Facebook data have surfaced in several accounts since the business began working on the 2016 campaign, setting off a furious debate about the merits of the firm's so-called psychographic modeling techniques. But the full scale of the data leak involving Americans has not been previously disclosed, and Facebook, until now, has not acknowledged it. Interviews with a half-dozen former employees and contractors, and a review of the firm's emails and documents, have revealed that Cambridge not only relied on the private Facebook data but still possesses most or all of the trove. Cambridge paid to acquire the personal information through an outside researcher who, Facebook says, claimed to be collecting it for academic purposes. During a week of inquiries from The Times, Facebook downplayed the scope of the leak and questioned whether any of the data still remained out of its control. But on Friday, the company posted a statement expressing alarm and promising to take action. "This was a scam and a fraud," Paul Grewal, a vice president and deputy general counsel at the social network, said in a statement to The Times earlier on Friday. He added that the company was suspending Cambridge Analytica, Mr. Wylie and the researcher, Alexander Kogan, a Russian-American academic, from Facebook. "We will take whatever steps are required to see that the data in question is deleted once and for all, and take action against all offending parties," Mr. Grewal said. Alexander Nix, the chief executive of Cambridge Analytica, and other officials had repeatedly denied obtaining or using Facebook data, most recently during a parliamentary hearing last month. But in a statement to The Times, the company acknowledged that it had acquired the data, though it blamed Mr. Kogan for violating Facebook's rules and said it had deleted the information as soon as it learned of the problem 2 years ago. In Britain, Cambridge Analytica is facing intertwined investigations by Parliament and government regulators into allegations that it performed illegal work on the Brexit campaign. The country has strict privacy laws, and its Information Commissioner announced on Saturday that she was looking into whether the Facebook data was illegally acquired and used. In the United States, Mr. Mercer's daughter, Rebecca, a board member, Mr. Bannon and Mr. Nix received warnings from their lawyer that it was illegal to employ foreigners in political campaigns, according to company documents and former employees. The conservative donor Robert Mercer invested $15 million in Cambridge Analytica, where his daughter Rebecca is a board member. Patrick McMillan, via Getty Images. Congressional investigators have questioned Mr. Nix about the company's role in the Trump campaign, and the Justice Department's special counsel, Robert S. Mueller III, has demanded the emails of Cambridge Analytica employees who worked for the Trump team as part of his investigation into Russian interference in the election. While the substance of Mr. Mueller's interest is a closely guarded secret, documents viewed by The Times indicate that the firm's British affiliate claims to have worked in Russia and Ukraine. and the WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange, disclosed in October that Mr. Nix had reached out to him during the campaign in hopes of obtaining private emails belonging to Mr. Trump's Democratic opponent, Hillary Clinton. The documents also raise new questions about Facebook, which is already grappling with intense criticism over the spread of Russian propaganda and fake news. The data Cambridge collected from profiles, a portion of which was viewed by The Times, included details on users' identities, friend networks and likes. Only a tiny fraction of the users had agreed to release their information to a third party. Protecting people's information is at the heart of everything we do. Mr. No systems were infiltrated, and no passwords or sensitive pieces of information were stolen or hacked. Still, he added, it's a serious abuse of our rules. Reading voters' minds. Bordeaux flowed freely as Mr. Nix and several colleagues sat down for dinner at the palace.